Thank you, Senator Cotton. Senator Blumenthal, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Thank you both for your service to our country, and thank you to your families as well. I recently visited with President Zelensky in Ukraine just about 2 weeks ago to the day, as well as his top military leadership. I came back convinced that Ukraine can win this fight. When I say win, I mean push back the Russians in their brutal, inhumane assault on the people of Ukraine. Their fighters are fierce, relentless, and driven to win this fight, even in taking back some of the occupied territory. To do so, they are going to have to mount an insurgency campaign involving special operations, and their fighters really need the kind of training that our special operators can provide. Would you agree with me, Lieutenant General Fenton, that our special operators have a role to play in training the Ukrainian military in that kind of insurgent special operations that can be done behind the lines against the Russians?
Senator, I would agree that that type of training is the hallmark of your special operations team. We were in the 1950s born for this type of work and have carried it forward even during the VEO fight of the last 20 years. Unconventional warfare, foreign internal defense, missions like that are the hallmark of training that your special ops team knows very well. Has also, since 2014 and before the invasion, been able to do with the Ukrainians in a very robust way, and is doing outside now as we still continue to train along with certainly the greater UCOM team.
I think that training is very important, and it is being done outside the country, as you point out quite correctly and importantly, not within Ukraine, which is important to keep the boundaries on our involvement and the risks that we incur there. But I hope that our role will be increasingly robust in training those Ukrainian fighters who can do that kind of unconventional warfare against the Russians, because I think in the long term it will be critical, along with our additional military aid, whether it's artillery or air defense and humanitarian assistance and stronger economic sanctions. I'd like to ask you both about the Wagner Group and other private military companies which pose a threat in Ukraine as well as elsewhere. As you know, they are often funded by Russian oligarchs, principally Yevgeny Prigozhin, I think has been identified as one of them. They are responsible for some of the atrocities that have been committed in Ukraine, perhaps in Africa as well. Perhaps beginning with you, General Fenton, could you comment on the threat that these private military companies like the Wagner Group pose to American interests?
Senator, the Wagner Group and groups like that receive certainly Russian money and oversight and direction, proxies of the Russians. They spread Russian aggression. They are ill-disciplined. They go into countries, in my experience, as I've seen them, and actually do them harm. As the Russians, they are acute threats, as we've seen them in Africa and certainly in Ukraine, ill-trained, ill-disciplined, and frankly, in many ways, a picture of what the Russians would like to use and in their way of warfare that, as proxies, usually ends up extremely hurtful to a country that I've seen them in, and in many ways an effort by the Russians to expand their influence that is in need of us sensing, illuminating, and ensuring we keep our eye on.
Pretty vicious and brutal.
vicious and brutal.
General Langley?
Senator, the Wagner Group, they exacerbate instability, especially with developing countries, and they stoke conflict. And on the continent of Africa, from my professional viewpoint, that just spells trouble for the overall stability and security across the continent.
My time has expired. I thank you both for your very informative answers. I look forward to supporting you strongly. Thank you.
Thank you.